The K-Files is brought to you by John Barnes Electric, your full-service electrical company, serving Rocky Mount and surrounding areas. Locally owned, locally recommended. Available 24/7. Call today for a free estimate. 442-7002. 442-7002.
Sherrod, as promised, it is the first week in the month. So what's going on in Nash County?
A lot.
With the sheriff's office. Wait, can we ask you a question?
Yep.
We were just talking about Sheriff Stone. Is he gonna run again?
He is. He told myself and Greg Brown the other day that he was for us to get ready to run another campaign, and Greg and I usually handle the campaign stuff for the sheriff, so you should see something forthcoming in a couple months or so.
Well, he has done a terrific job. As I said earlier, when you call him, he is one of the most responsive. I mean, I can't believe you can get his cell phone number. I mean, anybody can just call his cell phone.
He will. In the past, I used to help him with concealed carry classes, and before we would exit every concealed carry class, he'd say, "All right, here's my phone number. You call me if you need me," and he'd give it to just people that have taken his classes. So, I mean, he'd give his number to everybody. I'm surprised it ain't on a billboard somewhere in Nash County.
I know. Every time before we hang up talking, when I'm talking to him on the phone, he says, "Call me if you need me."
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and he means it.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, he has just been a huge working sheriff out in the, he will tell you in a heartbeat, if you want a man that's going to sit behind the desk, it's not me.
No, 100%.
So anyway, so we'll look forward to that in 26, as we talked about. So, so what's going on with cases in Nash County?
Nothing new on any of our cold cases. We had a busy month last month where we had a couple suicides and things of that nature that would just kept us wide open. And most of it happened within about a week and a half's time.
Yeah, because I was talking with my friend at Cornerstone, and I said, "Wow, you've got all of these folks," and he said, "Yes, unfortunately, So anyway, it's been
tough. I mean, we started out one morning where a guy was wanted from out of state. Ourselves and the marshals went to go get him, and he ran out of the woods and committed suicide. Later that afternoon, had another one down in Middlesex where he barricaded himself in his house. Our SRT was deployed, drone team was deployed, and he committed suicide. And then I think it was a couple of days later, a gentleman up in Castalia shot and killed his spouse and then shot himself, but he lived. So, I mean, it's been a busy month for us. Thank goodness it slowed off as far as those kind of crimes are concerned, but it's been busy for us.
So nothing new on Randy Colgrove.
Nothing new on Randy Colgrove.
Letitia McNair.
Still looking into her. Still looking into Travis Lynch, of course, who was a missing person, and then Melito Armstrong. We're still looking into that, but no new tips have came in or anything like that. So we're hoping some tips come in, or we get off the stuff we're actually working, we develop a new tip ourselves and run with it.
Melito Armstrong, refresh my memory on that one a little bit.
Melito Armstrong happened in 2022. He was at a large party out on Lonesome Pine Road out in Whitaker's.
Gotcha.
And there was probably about 200 plus people there. And we interviewed probably 10 or 12 people. Everybody else left, and We worked it as hard as we could, and we got some tips back then, and some things that we worked and just didn't lead us to where we needed to be. But you know, y'all have said it a thousand times on this show before. It's funny how 200 and plus people can be at a party, and you can only talk to 10 or 12 of them.
That case is so solvable.
I mean, it
is so solvable.
And I mean, and you know, our case is, and unfortunately, Halifax has got one, Edgecomb's got one, Rocky Mount PD's got one where somebody dies at a large party.
Yeah.
And you only get a handful of people that wants to talk to you.
Nobody saw nothing.
Nobody, yeah. And I mean,
Unbelievable.
you know, and we went to help Halifax when that one died, but the girl that died at the big party with the bonfire and all that stuff, there was over 500 people at that place.
See, I mean, somebody saw something. And, you know, you will agree that the public is the best resource
most
for
definitely.
cases.
And I mean, we've said it before, you know, if the public calls us and says, man, you know, right before that happened, we saw a blue car. Well, we have no idea about a blue car
Yeah.
until you call us and tell us about a
Exactly.
blue car. And then that leads us in a direction that we need to pursue because we
Exactly.
didn't know about it. I mean, because we only are dealing with what we see at a scene or the people that stayed around for us to tell us at a scene. So if none of those people mentioned to us that there was a blue car,
Yes.
and you call us and say, hey, I saw a blue car speed away right before, and while we're interviewing somebody, they say that JP was driving a blue car, and then it sparks us to lead in a whole different direction that we
Right.
had no clue about, only because somebody called us and told us that we needed to be looking for a blue car.
That's exactly right.
So definitely citizens or, you know, our biggest asset. I mean, we get a lot of information from informants, and we just get a lot of people who unfortunately sometimes get in trouble and they want to tell you what they know. And then, you know, and then it's up to the DA to see if he wants to cooperate with them and stuff like that. But, you know, we get some information, but we could definitely use more from citizens who say they don't want to get involved, and this is the perfect way to do it. I mean, Team Cold Case, Text a Tip with Rocky Mount, any way you want to do
Yeah.
it, it's all anonymous, and
get
we
paid.
and get paid.
We want to give them money to do this. We want to hand you cash. Cash. It will be cash money within 48 hours that we'll just put in your hand. It is anonymous, as Captain Sherrod said. We want to pay you. We know somebody knows something about Melito Armstrong. There were too many people at that party for somebody not to know. So we would love for you to call. Text a Tip is Rocky Mount,
Yep.
but Nash County is working the case. You can call Nash County 459-4121.
Exactly.
Is that right? It just came out of my head. But anyway, you can call the number on the bottom of the screen, 406-6736. There's all kinds of ways that you can let law enforcement know what you know so that you can get some cash money. So, and bring closure to that family that has no idea what happened to their loved one. So,
And I mean, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, it's all about closure. I mean, I would hate to be in the situation these families are in where one of my loved ones was killed and I didn't know what happened, or if my loved one was missing and I didn't know where her body was, and things of that nature. So it's all about closure.
It is.
You know, you want to hold somebody accountable, but me personally, I would rather see a family get closure than worry about punishment. We're going to do that, but
every year on the anniversary of that death,
oh yeah.
they have to go over this and go through it again and again, not knowing.
Very true, and you know, and it's worse when it's the holidays. I mean, you take Travis Lynch's mama. She not only has to deal with the fact that it's been over 20-some years now that she's not seen or heard from her son, and she deals with that anniversary date, as you said, but it was also at Christmas. So every Christmas, she don't enjoy it like the rest of us do
Right.
because she knows that that's the last time she saw her child.
That's exactly right.
So, I mean, it's just, and you know, and I think it's Linda Lawrence's mom who lived all those years,
Yes.
and then she ended up passing not knowing where her daughter
And that's what she
was at.
said. All I want before I die is to know what happened to my daughter. She said that.
And I mean, and it's bad that
Yeah.
we don't have the information we need to move forward in those kind of cases, and for the other agencies as well. I mean, it's all about people wanting to call, should want to call us, give us the tips we need, stay anonymous, and nobody knows who you are, and just let us do what we do, offer you the tip you just gave us.
Yes, absolutely. So please help us, if you will. And we've given you the numbers. If you have to call Crime Stoppers, you can do that, 977-1111. However, because the agencies do work together,
Oh, yeah.
and they will let each other know. So it doesn't matter. The
Exactly.
important thing is you just have to let law enforcement know. They need your help in all of these cases, the Nash County cases, and all the cases we talk about on the show. So thank you, Captain Sherrod, for coming today.
Not a problem.
We appreciate it, and we'll see you the 1st of next month,
I'll be
if
here.
not before. So anyway, we'll be right back on the K-Files right after this.
The K-Files is brought to you by John Barnes Electric, your full-service electrical company, serving Rocky Mount and surrounding areas. Locally owned, locally recommended. Available 24/7. Call today for a free estimate. 442-7002. 442-7002.
Back to the K-Files this morning. We enjoyed having Captain Sherrod on. We're going to be talking about one of his cases in just a minute, but right now you're going to talk about another one first.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about this case from September 15th, 2017, Keenan Marshall Mercer. Keenan Marshall Mercer. He was 20 years old at the time. He was riding a bike near 843 South Pine Street in Rocky Mount at around 9:40 a.m. in the morning when he was shot and killed while riding that bike. We don't really have any other information beyond that. Keenan Marshall Mercer, September 15, 2017, shot and killed while riding his bicycle in the area of 843 South Pine Street in Rocky Mount, 9:40 in the morning. So somebody should have seen something. 'Cause
Absolutely.
It's you know, things are moving at 9:40 a.m.
That's
in
right.
September. It's daylight. Cars are rolling. People are out and about.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody should have seen something.
Well, Pine Street goes into Sunset. It's the street that the old Ann's Donuts used to be on. Burlington, all of that. Burlington Industries, that's Pine Street. So, in case you don't know where that is. He was simply riding his bicycle. It sounds like he might have been targeted to me. I don't know, but anyway, we know that so many of these cases, we don't know about this one, we don't have the information, but so many of these cases are drug related. They just are. And it is a shame. It is just a shame that you would be shot because of drugs. I mean, it's just a shame. And the ages of the people in this book, the young people that have been taken out.
You can't help but see a
Senselessly.
pattern in this book.
Yeah, exactly. You absolutely can.
And it's sad and disappointing. But
Yeah.
there, clearly, when you turn page after page after page after page,
Yeah.
there's a pattern, and it, you know. And what's sad is just like Skeet was saying, you know, these things happen. You roll up on the scene, and nobody knows nothing.
Exactly.
They haven't seen anything. They have nothing to share, nothing to. It's like they don't want to get involved, or they frown upon getting involved.
Yes, absolutely. And it, to me, it is, if you know something like this, it is your duty to say something. I mean, you really should say something. As he expressed, to give that family closure is so important.
And it's also an obligation to get this person off the street.
Absolutely.
To make your community a safer place to live, work, and raise a family for your neighbors.
They're going to be a repeat offender.
Yes, they are. They are.
I mean, they're going to do it again and again until and next time it might be your family. That,
There's no telling how many people would not be in this book had someone in an earlier case shared a tip.
I mean, 21 years old. That is sad.
And it's page after page like that.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
And it's young men, young minority men that had their whole life ahead of them. And people will not come forward and share the information, share a tip to help get this perpetrator off the street.
No. So, hopefully you will see this. I'll say, you can always go to YouTube to find this. If you think, when we do this show and you watch it on Friday night at 7, this morning, whenever you see it, and you think, gosh, I need to see that again, you can go to YouTube. WHIG TV's YouTube page, and you can find this and get the details you need to see if it's the case that you know something about. And then you'll see the numbers to call and all of that. So, anyway.
This next case, we just talked about it briefly with
Yes.
Skeet. Randy Colgrove, the barber. This case is from October 21, 2017. Nash County Sheriff's Office responded to a person lying in the driveway of a home located on Highway 58 in the Sandy Cross community near Vibert Road outside of Nashville. Once on the scene, they found Randy Colgrove deceased from gunshot wounds. And I've heard Skeet say before that they felt like there was a confrontation, home invasion. They think he fled on foot. The perpetrators chased him.
Right.
It appears, based on evidence at the scene, that they engaged in a fight, that he got away again. They chased him even further, and ultimately got him, and he wound up dying as a result of a gunshot wound.
Well, that's the reason he was lying in the driveway, because he ran from the perpetrator. So it looks like, and I remember Captain Sherrod saying he had a roommate,
That's right.
and they do not think that Randy Colgrove was the intended person that they went there to get.
Yeah. And if that's the case, and I've never really discussed this with him, it looks like to me they should, and they probably do, have a very short list of suspects. And it looks
they
like
have
the
to if they
roommate
talk
would.
to the roommate. Yeah, if they talk to the roommate, they've got to have some kind of clue. He's got to know somebody that was
I've
not
always-
liking him or something.
I've always gone with the rule of 5. I don't care if you're working a break-in. I don't care if you're working a larceny. I don't care what the crime. Rule of 5. Ask that person. Just speculative. Name 5 people you think would break in your house. Name 5 people you think stole this from you. Name 5 people you think committed. Let me tell you something. Odds are they're going to name one
of
if
the
not.
5
Yes, they are.
It's going to be
Yes,
the
it
person.
is.
Wow. I've
Rule
never
of
really
5.
thought about it that way. Huh.
You'd be
That's
surprised.
interesting.
And it's not 100%, but I would dare say it's probably 80% or better. They will. It'll put you in the right direction to get started.
Wow. All
Rule of
right.
5.
If you know anything about Randy Colgrove, please let the authorities know. Call the numbers so you can get some cash money. We're ready to pay out.
This next case, Leroy William Dunston.
This is an interesting case to me.
This case is from December 23rd, 2017. Leroy Dunston, who was 44 years old at the time, was murdered at a card game at 843 Gay Street in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. At around 4:55 a.m. in the morning, police were called to respond to a shooting. When police arrived, they found Dunston in the driver's seat of his vehicle, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. 4:55 a.m. is kind of an odd time to be playing cards.
But don't they play, people that play cards like that, don't
I'm sure they play all
night
night long, yeah.
Yeah, they play
Especially
all
if this was
night.
on like a weekend. It would, that would not be unusual,
So do you think he was winning money and they knew he had money and or whatever?
Seems like I have heard that, But at a card game or usually something like this goes on, what we refer to in law enforcement is like at a liquor house. They usually, have games of chance available. They sell alcohol. It's a place to kind of go and hang out with your friends. So if he was winning and if he was collecting a lot of cash, he was probably on somebody's,
Yeah.
radar. And they may have
Exactly.
followed him out. But I guarantee you somebody in that liquor house knows what happened.
Oh, yeah, they absolutely do. Absolutely. This is Rocky Mount Police Department case. Gay Street is right over there by Pine Street. We have a lot of crimes in that area. We in this book, there's a lot over there on those streets that are right off of Sunset. But Gay Street is right by Pine Street. So anyway, if you know anything about Leroy Dunston, he was 44 years old at the time. This happened in 2017. Please let us know.
I meant to ask Skeet while he was here, Freddie Howell, Commissioner Howell was on a week or two ago, and he was talking about the uptick in the calls for service, and I want to say it was 18 to 24% increase in calls for service. That's a lot.
That's a lot. 18 to 24%.
That is a lot. Which basically points to like a rise in crime or in needing law enforcement to respond to something. And something else has something that I've advocated for years, and that is I would love to see a law enforcement officer or a Nash County deputy in every Nash County school. Right now we have them in high schools and middle schools. I've always been an advocate to put a deputy in every school.
You mean a resource officer?
Yes.
Well, they've got them. Kevin Bissett said yesterday that they do have them in elementary now.
They do.
The only difference is middle school and high schools, the school system pays for the SROs.
That's right.
They do not pay for them in elementary school. So the sheriff's office has to deal with that. So what they do is they do half a day at one elementary school, and then they go to another elementary school for the other half of the day. They kind of revolve like that.
around.
But he said, we have the funds. We're fine staying all day in the elementary schools, but we have to be asked by the Board of Education to do it, and we haven't been. So he said, if they just ask us to stay all day, we can do that. We can handle it. We're ready to handle it. Because they're coming out, and that's worthy to talk about. Some of the things he talked about yesterday is worthy to talk about on this show, because it does involve law enforcement. And we talk a lot about law enforcement on here. But he also said that Sheriff Stone has a new program. Kevin Bissett, Sergeant Bissett, just took this role as head of the SRO program in Nash County. And he said, me and the sheriff have put our heads together, and the sheriff has big plans for this program. As a matter of fact, the model that they're fixing to roll out is probably going to go national, and other agencies are going to grab onto it. So that's impressive
Yeah,
for
that
our
is.
area.
Yeah.
Because he said it, and the sheriff says it all the time, when, you know, he said it on here before. It's only a matter of time before we have a school shooting.
Yep. The most precious resource that we have as a society is our children.
Yes,
And they all, rich, poor, black, white, they all deserve an opportunity to go and receive an education in a safe environment.
exactly.
You look at what's happened in Tennessee at an elementary school, Columbine. You look at the crazy stuff going on in Colorado. You know, the sheriff deserves the resources, unquestionable, to put law enforcement resources in all Nash County schools.
Right, exactly.
Because he's right. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and it's better to have assets in place to kind of mitigate
Right.
or eliminate a threat before it even gets on the ground.
That's exactly right. So hopefully they'll be rolling out this program. He talked about, do you remember, was it in Florida? Was it Eufaula, the big school shooting?
Yes, I remember that. It was
He
just
sent
several years ago.
our deputies, a bunch of them down there, because he wanted them to learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were having their, afterwards you have debrief, you
Mm-hmm.
have these briefings. What could we have done
What worked,
better?
what didn't, what do we need
yes.
to... Yes. Uh-huh.
Well, the sheriff sent people, and he went down there, and they learned a lot. But one of the things they talked about doing, he said, our deputies, our SRO officers, they have to go around corners looking for the shooter when it's in a school. They have to keep going around corners and looking for that person, and it's very dangerous. They have mirrors in some of the schools that do this well, that probably have had shootings before and learned from it. But anyway, they want to put in mirrors so that they can see
Around the corner.
around the corners. Just all kinds of things that they're going to implement, because as he said yesterday, he said, I hate to tell you, I hate to say this, but it's truthful. We're going to have one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of time. We're going to have school shooting. And we want to be ready. This is all being proactive with this program that he has. And they are really, really jumping on it. And I do appreciate the sheriff and Sergeant Bissett for doing this, because they're right. It's just happening. We are getting a lot of false alarms. Nash Central Middle last week. Did we talk about this
We
last
did.
week? Yeah. Nash Central Middle prank call. This is not funny. I don't know what you think you're doing, but that is not funny. So one of these times, this prank is not going to be a prank. So anyway, we do want to be proactive and ready. And so it made me feel really good to hear what he had to say yesterday about, and they really do believe that it will be a national model when they get finished with it.
That's good. That's impressive.
Yes, it is.
But that's typical of Nash County Sheriff Keith Stone.
Yes,
It is.
yes.
He is a true defined leader.
Nash County has led the way in several things, and they call us. I mean, we're the only ones. I think we're one of 2 or 3 departments that has a, I won't call the name of it because I don't want to say it wrong, but there is a specific dog that we have here. Some people do have dogs in the schools sniffing out drugs. Now, here, I understand the educators and the faculty and the administration do not want us to do that. They don't want. Some people are scared of the dogs. Some kids are scared of the dogs. Others, parents, they don't like it. and you can only imagine because they probably know, I know my kid's going to have some drugs. So there's pushback on that, I think. So I don't think they'll be implementing that. But there's just a
When
lot
I
of
was
things.
in high school, they would bring a dog in.
Really?
So, yes, they would. They would bring a dog in and walk him up and down the lockers.
Uh-huh.
And look, if there's other dogs, I mean, the Highway Patrol, we actually use non-aggressive, like we don't use German Shepherds and Malinois and things like that. We use more passive dogs like hounds and
Yeah.
beagle, things like that. So being afraid of a dog, that's like a cop-out argument.
Yeah, it is to me too.
Especially when it comes to seeking out drugs or something like that in a
Right.
school environment.
Exactly. Well, anyway, we've got to go to break again, and we'll be right back right after we honor our sponsors.
The K-Files is brought to you by John Barnes Electric, your full-service electrical company, serving Rocky Mount and surrounding areas. Locally owned, locally recommended. Available 24/7. Call today for a free estimate. 442-7002. 442-7002.
And welcome back to the K-Files. We've got a little bit more time left, and we'll do another case or two. Then we'll be done.
Okay, this next case is Jamal Rashad Harris. Jamal Rashad Harris. This case is from June 2nd, 2018. Police responded to a shooting around 4:30 p.m. at the 600 block of Cleveland Street in Rocky Mount. When police arrived, they found Jamal Rashad Harris lying in the street and suffering from gunshot wounds. While en route to the emergency room, he became unresponsive and passed away. Again, that was Jamal Rashad Harris, June 2nd, 2018, 4:30 in the afternoon, 600 block of Cleveland Street, Rocky Mount. He was found suffering from gunshot wounds
Same thing. I mean,
right in the middle of the street, right in the
drugs
middle
are
of the
bound to
afternoon.
be behind this. And June 2nd, so it's exactly, 6 years?
Yeah.
So 7 years. Exactly 7 years from now, just about. So anyway, if you know anything about Jamal Rashad Harris, please call the number on the bottom of the screen, or Crime Stoppers 977-1111, or even text a tip. This is a Rocky Mount case. So
You know, you would think that if in Rocky Mount, I know I live way out in the country. If I hear a gunshot or if I hear a dog's bark, I go to a window. I mean, in that moment, I go
Yes.
to a window and look.
yeah, you better believe I do.
It just boggles my mind how nobody knows anything
know.
or sees. You know, I just can't relate to that.
People that would do something like this are people that you need, as you said earlier, to get off of the street. I mean,
Because it only emboldens their behavior.
It
Because they think
does.
they're untouchable.
yeah,
They're not going to be held accountable, and they're more likely to do it again.
and it just
And
gets
again,
worse. I
yes.
mean, they start out with this crime, and then they just elevate right on up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. This next case, John Mac Claudel. John Mac Claudel, July the 4th, 2018, at approximately 6:18 a.m. in the morning, EMS and Rocky Mount police officers were dispatched to the scene of a possible cardiac arrest. They arrived to find Mr. John Mac Claudel unresponsive on the walking track of the senior center. They found a gunshot wound in his chest, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. Mr. Claudel was found by two people who walked the track for exercise. He had cash, his cell phone, and his wallet on him in a Walmart bag near his right hand. There were no signs of a struggle, and robbery did not appear to be a motive.
I remember this case. This is a strange case. It is just strange. I mean, he's on the walking track,
It almost sounds like a stray bullet.
Yeah, I mean, it does, doesn't it? I mean,
But you know, I'd love to know if they found footprints. I'd love to know if they found shell casings near him, because
Yeah.
if you didn't find shell casings near him, that would support the theory of a stray bullet. Was he, was it near the roadway? Could it have been a drive-by, mistaken identity? There's so many things here.
Well,
But
the
a stray
senior
bullet
center-
can kill you.
oh yeah, oh yeah. The senior center is at the old YMCA on Church Street, which is right down there where the old Coca-Cola thing was, right across the street.
From like the bus terminal
Yeah.
or the train station.
Yeah, that's where the senior center was. So that's where this happened.
Right
So-
at the police department.
Right, yeah, I mean, right there, downtown, in the middle of downtown, right by the, like you said, right by the police department. It's just so strange that it wasn't robbery, nothing like that. Just, they thought he had a heart attack, no problem, and then they all of a sudden find a gunshot wound.
See, my thing here is if people had heard a gunshot and saw him go down, they wouldn't have thought it was a heart attack.
Exactly.
But if a bullet was fired 3 blocks away, because it was the 4th of July, okay? So if a random bullet was fired from blocks away and all of a sudden you see this man go down and tremble or what have
Yeah.
you, you're not thinking gunshot. You would think cardiac arrest.
Exactly. This is just a
It-
strange
it-
case.
It sounds like, to me, based on what I can read and put together and draw conclusions, it sounds like it could be like a stray bullet.
It really does.
The kicker would be if they recovered brass casings on the scene.
Right. Well, now, the senior center would have had walkers. I mean, a lot of people walk around the track at the senior center. So he wouldn't have been the only one in there. And like you said, they evidently did not hear anything, or they wouldn't have thought he had a heart attack.
Yeah.
They just found the bullet wound. So this has always been another one of those strange cases that I don't know. If it was a stray bullet, this case will never be solved.
Yeah, never.
Right?
That's right.
I mean, it'll never be solved if that was the case. So it will.
Because if it's a rifle case, if it was a rifle casing or a rifle round that was found in him, it could have been fired from miles away.
Yep. Well, anyway, John McCaudle, if you do know anything about this incident on July 4th, and like you said, that's a good point. It was July 4th. People tend to be doing things even that they shouldn't be doing. But anyway, if you know anything, please, you know the drill. So that's all for today. Thank you, JP.
Yes, ma'am.
The K-Files is brought to you by John Barnes Electric, your full-service electrical company, serving Rocky Mount and surrounding areas. Locally owned, locally recommended. Available 24/7. Call today for a free estimate. 442-7002. 442-7002.